Hi friends, I have this fun book about birds today. It's called Flap Your Wings by P.D. Eastman. An egg lay on the path. A boy came down the path. He saw the egg. He looked around. He saw flamingos and frogs and turtles and alligators. "Whose egg is this?" he called. But nobody answered. Then the boy looked up. He saw an empty nest in a tree. "Here is an egg without a nest," he said, "and there is a nest without an egg." The boy climbed the tree. He put the egg in the nest, and away he went. Mr. and Mrs. Bird came home. They were surprised to find an egg in their nest. "That's not our egg," said Mrs. Bird. "Look how big it is." "But it is an egg, and it's in our nest," said Mr. Bird. "If an egg is in your nest, you sit on it and you keep it warm. It doesn't matter whose egg it is." "All right," said Mrs. Bird, "but I wonder what kind of bird will come out of that egg." They took turns keeping that egg warm. First, Mrs. Bird sat on it. Then Mr. Bird sat on it. And sometimes, because it was so big, they both sat on it. One day, Mrs. Bird heard a squeaking noise. "Help!" she said. "This egg is squeaking." Squeak, 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 squeak. Mr. Bird came back to the nest. He listened to the egg. "The egg is not squeaking," he said. "It's our baby that is squeaking. He's ready to come out of the egg." Mr. and Mrs. Bird waited. Squeak, 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 squeak. The egg started to crack, and there were more squeaks, squeak, crackle, scratch. Then it cracked some more, and there was the baby. Mr. Bird was very excited. "It's Junior," he shouted. "What a beautiful baby." What kind of egg do you think that was? And they're calling the baby Junior because that's what some people call their babies. Junior opened his mouth. It was a big mouth. It was full of teeth. "That is the funniest looking baby I ever saw," said Mrs. Bird. "Something is wrong. I don't think he's our baby at all." "He's in our nest, so he must be ours," said Mr. Bird. "His mouth is open. What do you think that means?" "It means he's hungry. When your baby is hungry, what do? You feed him." Mr. and Mrs. Bird went away to get some food for Junior. Mr. Bird brought a pink worm. Mrs. Bird brought a green one. Junior ate both worms in one gulp. Chomp! Then he opened his mouth wider again. "We have to get Junior lots more to eat," said Mr. and Mrs. Bird. Hour after hour, day after day, they brought food for Junior. Mrs. Bird got these. What are they? Some fruit and berries. She got some of these. What is she feeding him? Caterpillars, butterflies, and insects. She got dragonflies and mosquitoes. And look what else she got. Ladybugs and tiger beetles. Do you think Junior will like those insects? Then Mr. Bird got crickets and spiders. He got grasshoppers and snails. He got red ants and he got black ants. He got centipedes too. Look at all those legs. That's a centipede. Ooh. What kind of bird eats so much? Mrs. Bird asked. It doesn't matter, said Mr. Bird. He's still hungry and we have to feed him. Weeks went by. Junior never stopped eating. What do you think's going to happen to Junior? And he never stopped growing. He grew bigger and bigger and bigger. Finally, Junior got so big that Mr. Bird said, "It's too crowded up here. Junior has to leave the nest. It's time for him to fly away." "You're right," said Mrs. Bird. "The time has come. We must show him how to fly." What do you think is going to happen? Mrs. Bird and Mr. Bird pushed. Mr. Bird showed Junior how to fly. "Jump! Jump into the air like this, then flap your wings," he said. "Can you practice that? Stand up and jump. Now flap your wings. Are you going anywhere? Are you flying away? Oh no, come back, come back. Let's find out what happened to Junior." Junior got ready. He took a big breath. Take a big breath with me. And he jumped. Take a big jump. Up, up, up into the air he went. "Flap your wings," yelled Mrs. Bird. "Flap your wings," yelled Mr. Bird. Yell out to Junior, "Flap your wings." Maybe he will. Good job. Junior flapped and he flapped, but it didn't do any good. Why not? He didn't have any wings. Down, down, down went Junior, down into the water. Splash! Ooh, it was cool and wet in the water. It was just right for Junior. When you look at this picture, what else do you notice is under the water? I see some other animals that like the water, but I see two animals like Junior. What are they? "You know," said Mrs. Bird, "I don't think Junior was a bird at all." "It doesn't matter," said Mr. Bird. "He's happy now, and just look at him swim." Do you think they're proud of Junior? Yeah, now he's more in his natural habitat. But they were very good to him, of course, taking care of him from a baby. And then when he was ready to leave the nest, off he went. I hope you enjoyed Flap Your Wings. Now, go Go fly away.